Hey guys, RageBarTV here, back with another video. Today I'll be giving you a guide on how I play Crystal Shaper with T3-5 set, rotation, skills, engravings, all that good stuff. So let's get started. First off, we're going to start with our talents to follow suit with all the other videos. So for talents for Crystal Shaper are as follows. You want to go full into Bravery. I have 1 point into Energy because I rolled a +5 Energy, so I'm just using it. 1 into Mana Torrent, 10 into Chanting, 5 into Force Release, which you would get from Reforges. Again, first 4 you would roll +2 on 2 artifacts, and the bottom 3 and your opportunity attacks. Ruthless you could get from charms when they come out with opportunity attack charms. Obviously, opportunity attacks would outweigh Ruthless. Dying Strike would go 1 for Saw Blade and Sharp Edge. Only reason I'm in Sharp Edge is because I had 1 point from Reforge. I could go that 1 extra point into Saw Blade, but it's up to you. If you're at 230% crit damage, anything more is going to help, but to me, 1% wasn't a huge deal. Alright, so next phase is Strategist. Cunning, again, you're going to go to your character panel, and you're going to go to Advanced, and you're going to hit Accuracy. You're going to make sure you're at 100% on a level 84 target. If you're not, you would go back to Talents, put another point in, hit Save, check it again until you're at that percentage. Rest of the points just throw into Grace. Personal preference for the second tier, I use Fiery Resolve. You're going to go 10 into Precision, and the third tier, you could use Tactical Plan. Obviously, it is the only ability that has a PvE extra 5% crit chance. Everything else is just a stat boost and for PvP. I use Field Doctor just because I've been maxed enough. I'm doing enough damage for where I am currently. Once I start hitting Enrage and stuff like that, that's when I will start switching other things up. But for right now, I'm ahead of the curve, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Next, we will go through our skills. We're going to go level 10 priority skills. So, of course, first off would be your Arcane Blast, level 10. Then Disintegrate. Then I would go Crystal. Then Magic Missile. Then Polymorph. And then finally Warp. And then Maelstrom. The goal is to have the 4 that I have all level 10, and any order you prefer, but try to go with Blast, Disintegrate, Missile, Poly, Crystal. Alright, next for your engravings, we'll go Magic Missile first, so I went with Sharp. Arcane Blast is Sharp. Polymorph is Delay to give you an extra 2 seconds on that 15 damage % increase. Arcane Crystal is Agile because you want to keep 100% uptime on your crystal. Warp, I put Agile, but it doesn't really matter. Maelstrom, I put Mighty Power, but you shouldn't be getting to the point where you actually need to use this, so it's pretty much a useless skill. And Disintegrate, I use Strong Energy. Pretty important because it increases the arcane power, increases the damage effect from Disintegrate by 20%, which pairs great with the T3-5 set bonus. For Inscriptions, you're pretty much looking for damage anywhere you can. So, Magic Missile, you're going to go Advanced Brutal Force, Brutal Force. Arcane Blast, very important. The purple Inscription, Arcane Feedback, you need it. It keeps you above 90% mana to keep your Force Release active. And because we're spamming Arcane Blast so much, it's a must-have Inscription. Your blue one would be Advanced Brutal Force. For Polymorph, I use Advanced Tranquil Mind and Tranquil Mind just to get the cooldown quicker. Arcane Crystal, Advanced Tranquil Mind, and Advanced Brutal Force. Some people use both Tranquil Mind. I'm finding I'm keeping the crystal up 100% of the time, so that little bit of extra damage was benefiting me. 10 doesn't really matter. I'm using Phase Blink. You're not using it in PvE, really. Maelstrom, again, I'm using the purple, but you don't really need to use that. Advanced Brutal Force and Brutal Force. Again, most damage that you can get. For your Mastery, I've been testing both. If you're using Crystal Energy correctly, which is the 3rd Mastery, it should be a bigger DPS increase if you're following the correct rotation. I've seen a lot of CN players having good luck with the 2nd Mastery. which increases the damage of Disintegrate because we're using Disintegrate so much, and it reduces the mana cost of everything, so it definitely keeps you above that 90% to keep your Force Release. And Arcane Power also increases the skill damage caused by other skills by an additional 12%. Tested out, from what I've seen and checking the WoK forums, the third one does seem to be the best. But it also depends where your character is and if you're going to try to min-max. If you're min-maxing, I definitely go for the third one. It is a bit more RNG because you're waiting on Disintegrate procs to be able to keep casting that. But, I mean, it works great. The third one also would allow you to... You would have to jump a lot more in your rotation. We'll go over that once I get to that, though. Sigils, basic intellect user. Intellect in the cores. Red's all intellect. Blues, you in the end game, you would want all main stat or crit, vit crit. Yellows, same thing. Vit crit. I do have one haste just because I haven't found another crit one, but yeah, actually I'll use that now. You lose rating when you put it in, right? But if you're over haste, which you don't need that much of, compared to crit, it's the way to go. For your runes, basic runes, book 14, riddle 14, pretty much across the board. For witness, book 2, I use riddle 13 and put all Zeus runes purple. End game, you would want those all gold, but that is a very pay to win thing. And the reason you use riddle 13 is because it activates the plus 45 intellect from using a Zeus rune. So you're getting a constant plus 6% increased crit damage and a constant plus 45 intellect, which outweighs the, if you drop below 70%, increase your damage. Again, just book 14 across the board for whatever riddle 14 across the board for whatever you're using. Spirits, again, use whatever you can, whatever's the highest stat for that temple. Totem, you're kind of just following the plan, so same thing, just level up whatever you can and go from there. Next thing we're going to go over will be, looks like pretty much Reforges, but we already kind of went over them, but we'll do it again. So, Reforge, again, you want your plus 4 force release from your artifacts. So, I have it on my Kai and my Fleonis, and then I have my plus 2 mana torrent on my Endura and my Delo. Bottom 3 are Tinos, Harma, and Brekka. Doesn't matter really which order, but you're looking for plus 2 Dying Strike on 2 of them and plus 2 opportunity attacks. That'll give you the best outcome. Let's get into the rotation that I'm currently using for T3 5-set Crystal Shaper. I'm going to note I would not recommend going Crystal Shaper if you do not have T3 5-set, as it makes the rotation extremely easy with it and very difficult without it. It's still doable because you could use Tier 2.5 or T2 5-piece, which increases the damage of the Arcane Crystal. It does work, but again, I think Frost Whisperer would be more beneficial than having to do a rotation that's going to make you very agitated because you have to follow it completely. With the T3 5-set, it does give you a little more leeway. If you do mess up your rotation, you can get right back into it. So let's do this 1 second. So at the start of the fight, we always want to make sure we have 4 arcane power. I am on a level 84 target dummy. I'm just standing to the side of the target dummy. What I normally will do is hit my arcane missile because it's a free arcane missile, and then I'll immediately drop my crystal, pop my poly, hit my pet ability, Iron Will, blast, disintegrate. Once disintegrate ends, if I have another disintegrate, I'll blast, disintegrate. If I do not have a disintegrate proc, I would blast, magic missile, crystal. So pretty much what you're trying to do is every time you blast, if you have good RNG and you have a disintegrate ready, you would go blast, disintegrate, blast, disintegrate. The goal with Crystal Shaper T3 5-set is to keep 100% uptime on crystal and spam blast, disintegrate combos as much as you can. You need 3 blasts to reset the cooldown of crystal. So 3 blasts within 8 seconds. So and that'll reset the cooldown. So let's do this. I'm not really going to talk. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing, and you can see what I'm doing here. All right. So. stats currently are 13,928 main stat, about 25,908 attack. That's with 260% crit damage, 106% crit. Now, the crit cap is 103% unbuffed, which would put you at 113 with the healer buff, or 114, which should give you a 100% chance to crit on a level 84 target. Your haste, I was told I have way too much haste. With the, as you can see, I'm over by about 4%. I have about 4.18% too much haste, as when I use the T3 2 set and I'm using my ability, it gives me plus, when crystal's down, it gives me 20% haste. So I'm putting myself over 100% haste, so I could lose 4% haste to even that out. That's been my guide on Crystal Shaper. Sorry for the rotation, I did mess it up a little bit, but hopefully you get the idea of just using Blast, Disintegrate, Blast, Disintegrate, Blast, Disintegrate, Crystal. Blast, Disintegrate, Blast, Disintegrate, Blast, Disintegrate, Crystal. Throwing Poly in whenever it's up, and using Arcane Missile, using Magic Missile when you don't have a Disintegrate lined up. If you can see you don't have a Disintegrate, you would go, it's just about being fast. And just take note that Arcane Crystal and Magic Missile are on the same GCD, where everything else is not. So that should help you out. Alright, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. Thanks, and stay safe.